I wanted to make today's video entirely about setting up the Del Mar for the first time. To me, there's nothing more exciting than getting a brand new motorcycle, and I equate having to wait for that delivery or for it to come to your dealer. I equate that to a kid having to wait for Christmas morning to arrive. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are waiting for their Del Mars to be either delivered or brought into their dealer, so I completely understand the anticipation for getting your bike. Now, the very first thing that you can do when you get your Del Mar, when you order it or you buy it, is to download the app. Now, when you download the app, it's going to ask you to register your VIN. So if you've already paid for your Del Mar, your guru should have already given you your VIN for your vehicle. You can enter into the app, but you're really not going to be able to do anything until you pair your app to the bike. Using the app is not a requirement for operating the bike. I just want to make that incredibly clear. But if you don't use the app, you're missing out on some of the integrated functionality that's included with the bike. Now, some of that integrated functionality is media control. So if you're listening music through your headset, you can skip songs, you can do voice controls to call someone. And if you're running any type of navigation, you can control it through the left control module. So the next thing that you want to do after you download the app and you have your bike is you want to pair your phone and your headset. All right, so with your key in your pocket, you want to get on the bike. We're going to kick the Jiffy stand up, and then we're going to turn the bike on. To pair a Bluetooth and a headset, we're going to use the left control module. This is the menu button. This is the home button, and this is the left and right, up and down, and then the middle button is the select button. So I'm going to hit the menu button, and I'm going to cycle through to the bike settings, and then I'm going to hit the enter button, which is the center button here. And then I'm going to scroll down to Bluetooth and then add new phone. Now, I've already paired my phone with this bike. All you would need to do, depending on if you're iOS or Android, is just go into your Bluetooth settings, look for the bike, put it in pairing mode, and then select add new phone using the center button. And you're going to want to do the same thing with a headset. Put your headset in a pairing mode. Your headset is going to show up on the screen. You just select it and it pairs it. It's a very seamless and easy process. All right, once we have the phones paired, we're going to hit the home button, go back to the main screen. Let's go into settings, and then we're going to go into ride customization, and this is where you can set up different riding profiles. Now, if you're brand new to riding electric motorcycles, I highly suggest that you set 2 custom ride modes, which I'm about to show you. And that's just so that you can get used to the torque that comes with electric motorcycles. If you've already ridden electric motorcycles before, you have a lot of experience, you can probably skip this step. So right now I have all of the factory ride modes are disabled. All you do is just select them to enable them or to disable them. So I've created 2 custom ride modes. If you want to adjust them, click the right select button, and that will allow you to edit your custom ride mode. You can copy it from another ride mode if you wanted to. Let's say that you really liked how sport mode feels, but you wanted the regen to be a little bit lower. You would copy the sport riding mode, put it on your custom riding mode, and then adjust your parameters however you want it. I don't want to copy, so I'm going to hit down. And this is where you can adjust all of your different settings. Now, there are 2 ways that you can do this. You can either just tap it to adjust it, or you can hold it down, and that makes it move a lot faster. So, try to get in focus. So I'm just tapping it, and you can see how it's going up by 1. Or if I hold it down, it starts moving in bigger increments. So this is my custom ride mode, so I'm just going to keep it back to what it was. And then, so you can adjust power, regen, throttle, and then you can select the type of traction control that you want. Track mode, it doesn't have traction control. Sport mode, I believe, is a little bit lower. This is the balance ride mode, and then you have rain mode. So if you wanted low slippage, then you would want to select that. And then once you're ready to save, just hit the corresponding button on the left control module to save it. All right, and that's it. And then we can just hit the back button here to go back to the menus. And this is also where you can adjust the time, have it sync, the time sync to whatever your clock is. All right, the next thing we're going to set is one of the most important things that you can set on the bike, which is the pin for the bike. So let's say that you left your keys in your wife's car and your wife drove off for work. You have to ride the bike. Well, if you have your pin set, that means you can start the bike without the key fob present. It's a really handy feature, and if you ever lose your fob, and a couple other Live-Wire owners have lost their key fobs while they're out riding, if you don't want to be stranded, set your pin. It's a 5-digit pin. It can be whatever 5-digit combination that you want. I believe from the factory it's set at all zeros or all ones. Don't quote me on that, but I'm just going to show you how to do it here. So we're going to select change security pin. All right, now to set the pin, you're going to use the blinker button. So we're going to push it left to set the number, and then we're going to push it to the right to move the spaces over. So let's make this all 5. So I'm going to hit it left 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I'm going to push the blinker button to the right, and it changes the position. So we're going to do it 5 clicks, push it right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I messed up. So if you mess up, just keep pushing it left and it cycles through the numbers. Oh, did it again. All right, push it right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Push it right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and once you have it on the last one, when you click it to the right, it should go back to the menu, and then that means that it saved the pin. Just keep in mind that the only way that you can change the security pin is if you have the key fob present. If you don't have it present, you cannot reset the pin, which is why it's so important that you set a pin that you can remember that you're never going to forget. If you ever needed to get underneath the seat for anything, like on the seats, there are these little hooks right here, these little cloth hooks. So if you want to secure a bag somehow to the back, those are underneath the seat. All right, so this is the stock seat. These are the little cloth tabs that are stored up underneath. Really cool little handy feature. There's some other features underneath the seat that I want to show, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. So it's winter here in Virginia, and that means that it's really cold. As most people know, one of the things that the cold affects is tire pressure. So before you head out, you want to make sure that you have the proper tire pressure. And to find out what your tire pressure is at, the bike has built-in tire pressure monitor. So you're going to go to the maintenance menu, and here I can see what my tire pressure is. So the front is 36 and the rear is 40, I believe. So after you get the tires in, the next thing you're going to do is set the suspension for your body type or your body weight. Now, I don't have the tool to adjust the rear monoshock. It's somewhere located in my studio. I haven't felt the need to adjust the suspension, so I haven't done that, but here's how you would adjust the suspension if you need to. So you have this top ring, and that locks the adjustment spring, and so you would spin the top piece up all the way until it stops, and then you would adjust your compression spring down to the right setting. And then for your forks, you have the compression and rebound and spring tension on both sides, and you do that with a screwdriver, I believe. Now, I'm not an expert when it comes to suspension. I kind of find that stuff very boring. The suspension on my Live-Wire was tuned by a suspension specialist, and so if you have one in your area and you really want to get your suspension tuned, I suggest you just do that route, because you can kind of chase numbers when you set your own suspension. I don't set my own, so I'm not even going to comment on it. I don't even know how to do it properly. Now, once you get your suspension set, now you want to set the angle of the headlight. To set the headlight, you want to park 25 feet away from a wall. And so I already have this little piece of tape meant just for adjusting headlights. And then you want to loosen the headlights up. It's a T27 bolt that's just behind the headlamp, and that's on both sides. Now for this next step, you're going to want to loosen the bolts just a little bit, enough so that you can move the headlamp up and down with just your hands. You want to put on all of your riding gear, get on the bike, turn it on, and then you're going to measure the distance from the ground to the middle of the headlight. Then you're going to want to take whatever that number is. You want to put a mark on the wall. Now, I usually use tape to do this, but I don't know where my tape is, so I'm using a marker. And I want the bottom or the top of my beam to just barely touch this line. Now it's important that when you're doing this, that put the full weight of yourself and all of your gear on the bike, because that's really going to adjust where the lamp hits the road. All right, once you have that, then you can go ahead and tighten everything back down. All right, so there are just two more things that you're going to want to adjust before you get on the road, and that is the rearview mirrors and the front brake lever. Adjusting the rearview mirrors is really easy. See how it swivels like this? It also moves up and down, and there is a bit of a limit to how far it'll come up, or how far it'll twist back, how far it'll rotate back. And so if you need a little bit more room, you just push it down or pull it up like that. And the last thing you need to adjust is where your brake lever is positioned. So you push it forward, rotate this knob. There's 5 different settings and they're all numbered. It sets the distance for how far away the brake lever is from the handlebar. So on setting 1, it's super close, and then on setting 5, it's pretty far away. And once you have all those things done, you're pretty much ready to get on the road. All right, so to start the bike, turn the ignition on, and then you kick the kickstand up, and then you hold this for a few seconds, and that turns on propulsion. You've got your mode button, which is how you cycle through your ride modes, your 4-way hazard lights, media control center, volume up, volume down, track left, track right, pause and play. You have your traction control, and this is if you want to turn traction control off, you just hold it down. And then you have your voice control, so if you wanted to call someone that is stored in your contacts, you just hold that down and say call whoever. And then on the left-hand control module, you have your brights, or your flash to pass, which is you just hold it down and then flick it up is to put the brights on. Your cruise control, this turns on cruise control, and then you push this down to set it, and then you can increase or decrease your speed. Hitting this button right here turns off the cruise control. You can also temporarily disable cruise control by either hitting the front brake or the rear brake. And like most cruise controls, if you want to pass someone, you can accelerate, make the pass, and then whenever you're done, you let off the throttle and it goes back to whatever your cruise control was set to. This is like your trip button right here. So when you're at the main screen, I can't do it right now, but you cycle through your trip counters, the ambient temperature, pretty much the info that's displayed right here when you're going. Also, you have your menu navigation buttons, enters in the center, menu button, home button. This is your turn indicator, so left for left blinker, right for right blinker. Pressing it in cancels. Now the bike is equipped with self canceling turn signals, so if you make a turn, once you complete the turn, the turn signal will automatically turn off. And the last button is the horn. Oh yeah, there's one last thing that I meant to show. So helmet storage. These are 2 little hooks right here. This is for helmet storage, so you put the D-ring on your helmet loop through here, and the helmet just hangs off to the side. And the other thing that I wanted to show was how to lock the steering wheel. There you go. A little bit of a hassle, but just pull the handlebars all the way to the left, lock it, and the steering wheel is locked. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions about starting up the Del Mar, how to do certain functions on it, make sure you leave in the comments below. It's super cold and windy outside. My ears are freezing. I'm going home.